I guess it's a new year. So happy new year to everybody. We made it. I know. I apologize for missing out on the last week of the year. I was feeling a little under the weather, but I hope that we all enjoyed ourselves and stayed safe. Hopefully, you stayed home and didn't get caught up trying to travel at like the worst possible time to be traveling. So, I was thinking we'll discuss some things and watch season 6, episode 1 of 60 Days In. It's available on A&E. It's on Hulu. I imagine there are a bunch of ways to watch it. It's probably even on YouTube. I got to check that. It's called Should Have Stayed a Fan. Let's count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Please remember there will be commercials for you people. It's going to be weird the day that I finally give up and actually pay. And I'm like, all right, everybody, no more commercials. I'm one of the bougie now. I've got 35 seconds of ads, starting with the 355. I hate that name. And here's what I was telling my wife, because it seemed like I was just hating on the show, or on the movie. If I'm to believe that the 6 greatest assassins in the world are all these women, can the movie not be PG-13? I'm on board, but if they had just made it R-rated and I knew that there was going to be a lot of gore and people getting shot in the face and necks snapped, I would be all in. Instead, I'm somewhat in. I was like, and then I saw PG-13 and I was like, all right, we're back in. All innocent, all inmates are innocent until proven guilty. That's what they'd love for you to think. No one is treated like they could be innocent ever. There's like one nice cop, but 55 cops around him that treat you like shit. All right, so the thing about this show, for those who haven't seen 60 Days In, is they take regular people who aren't necessarily guilty of a crime and put them in jail for 60 days so that they can get a sense of what really happens. Like, you see these things, this violence, it's a taste. A lot of problems in every jail. Get it in your face. Now, the real problem is certain stuff you gotta do. Like, what are you gonna do if somebody hits you in the face? Except for if you're one of these innocent people, if you do anything that could potentially give you time, then you get real time. So it's like you're putting yourself in an environment filled with trouble. And if you actually contribute to the trouble, you're fucked. Now, this isn't necessarily just so that they can see how well they would do if they were behind bars. They are actually trying to help the jail figure out where the problem areas are. They are, for lack of a better word, snitches. There was a redheaded dude from a previous season. My wife and I ran through this during the quarantine. And he was so good at pretending to be a criminal that they continued to use him. Even after the show was done, they were like, well, he seems to really have an in with the gang members. He's going to go ahead and stay for an even longer period of time. He stayed like months. And I like the slow mo walk. That's a big ass jail. And he didn't do shit. Oh, yeah, he was the man. Yeah, I didn't do anything wrong, according to the law. which is just wrong. If you've ever had jail food, it's exactly what everybody thinks it will be. It's cold, it's bland, it's nasty. Never forget beef stroganoff. They would serve up this cold gray beef stroganoff. And first of all, I don't like the name beef stroganoff. That makes me not want to eat it. Smelling it made me not want to eat it. Looking at it. And then there was one day after I had been there long enough that I was like, okay, I can put this nasty shit in my mouth. That's how hungry I am. And I had to just take a moment and think like, man, that's gross. It looked like I saw some pizza boxes. So when he talks about fishing like that, all of the toilets are connected. So if I am above you, I can put a message in the toilet and put it down when it's flushed, and it will come to your toilet down beneath me. It's weird. It's been years, but I can still see the inside of a cell like I just was in there yesterday. The bolting, you don't have a real mirror. It's just a really reflective piece of tin or something, or metal. Metal's probably a better word. One of those dudes was hauling ass. It's just funny to see a big dude tatted up like that running his ass off. You got that right. Now look at them looking happy, normal, with their shirts untucked. I'm a citizen, and now you're about to be treated like garbage. Oh, yeah, Ashley is the one who was like, oh, there's so much wrong here. See, he says that, but he was a football star. Even if he grew up in the hood, people left him alone. I think he's going to come in there and try to act like a badass, and they're going to be like, I will cut your face if you don't sit down and shut up. Jacob's going to have a fun time, but I don't think he's going to be too intimidated, except as a correction officer, they shouldn't lay hands on you, and here no one cares if they do. This woman is balding a little bit. Always makes me sad to see a woman losing her hair, but it happens. It's just a goddamn shame, is all. Such a weird thing. Now, see what he said, if history has shown us anything, because the redheaded guy that I was talking about was a Marine, but I don't think that the being a Marine part had anything to do with him getting along. I think he just knew how to speak to people when he was in that environment. He's just going to go in there bragging about being a Marine. Plus, he was chubby, and it's always the chubby ones that decide that they want to tell the world they're a Marine, like that means they're a killer. Gadsden. Never heard of it. Don't think I'd like to see it. Looks like the kind of thing you pass in your car on the highway and say, no. A poli sci major wants to get on the inside and see what the people are like. It won't be a relief. You're going to get shitty food. The only thing that I am happy for them for is they're going to get to eat swoles. And if you haven't had one, you need to just do yourself a favor. Go to a YouTube video. Look up how to make a swole. Swole, SWOLE. And they're pretty easy to make, relatively cheap ingredients. And yeah, you could stretch a few swoles for days. They're just, And if you're trying to put on any kind of weight, very good for that. You need to take a shit, very good for that. Yeah, I've been better. They look like clones. Like, this is the clone that I had aged a little older. This is my chubby clone. That dude looks just like him, but with bigger cheeks. And that dude is a certified asshole. I can tell by looking at his face. He has said horrible things to people. I remember COs used to just do the worst shit, and their response anytime you would say, "That's not right, man. Like, why are you treating me like that?" And they'd say, "If you don't like the way you're being treated, don't commit a crime," which is a powerful statement, and it's not wrong, but people don't want to hear that shit when they're trying to ask you to, like, call their family because there's some kind of an emergency and you're telling them no, and they're like, "Come on, man, like, I'm a person. I need to talk to my family." Yeah, well, you want to talk to your family, don't commit a crime. It's just, yeah, Nate's the one that I remember. I don't remember Matt. But he said all, like there were five names that he was going to run through. When you said all, you meant both. And you're just excited to wear that lip ring for a whole day before you take it out and go to jail? It's just something about the way this guy looks says he's a victim. I think his arms are a little too long, or his fingers are too long, or something. His shoulders are a little narrow. Eating ass. I was on the beach, and my woman said, "Get in my ass," and I was like, "Of course." Apparently, that's a crime. Something about public indecency. Right? And we're not even inmates. Not much better. How do you work on that? Because my first thought was, man, you need to smoke some weed. And there isn't necessarily going to be weed in the jail. Now, there might be. Probably have a really nasty, somewhat rolled cigarette. Saw a lot of people smoking those in showers, and it is some sad business. You know how that's going to play out, Big Chipmunk. Don't be cocky. Just keep your head down. Why would he be threatened by you? He's not going to be locked up with you. You can't fight them. They will actually give you time. Like, hey, when your 60 days is done, you got another week for that fight that you had. And he said he's kind of pretty. Now, just to go back, a lot of people, like when I would tell my jail stories, some people who've never seen the inside would be like, man, it sounds like prison. No, prison is very different than jail in many ways. But one of the most different ways is that in jail, you're just bored. It is time out. There's not a whole lot of fights. There really isn't rape. Like, especially the jail that I was in, they were like, I mean, rape is rare. Now, prison, that's where rape tends to happen. So, having said that, I think that this dude warning him, like, you're going in there, and he said, you're pretty. And they're giving them some lessons on contact and self defense. Seems like this might be a worse jail than I would have assumed. And if I were looking at those dudes and questioning who can handle themselves, the only one that I got is the corrections officer. And that guy looks afraid of even the exercise. I'm not comfortable with confrontation. Please don't touch me. I mean, I think you knew. You've never had to put your hands up in anger. All right, everybody. Do you think they're going to let this 24-year-old actually go into the jail? I say no. I think that someone is going to step in. Even that looks sad. I think someone's going to step in and say, we don't think this is the best idea. And having Puma ankle socks in those boat shoes feels like a crime. Arrest him. He's just going to lean in and whisper when he shakes the young man's hand, I think this is a mistake. I don't think this is for you. Well, that sucks because that dude definitely thinks he has an afternoon to think about all this. I don't know what he was thinking. Oh, I'm in a commercial now. We got a minute and 19 seconds. It's the Geico commercial with the dude from What We Do in the Shadows. Big fan of that show. If comedies were longer, I would watch a lot more of those. Like, there are some comedies that I really want to do a let's watch of, but I'm like, well, people should be laughing. And I don't know if there's a lot of commentary on it. Like, there's a show, The Life and Times of Tim. If nothing else, what I hope to do with these Let's Watch is to introduce people to a new show that they might end up loving. Like, I think a lot of people ended up watching Chucky and liking it based on the numbers that I saw. Everybody knew what Wife Swap was, but like, how many of you have watched The Life and Times of Tim on HBO Max? There's a new show, 12-Year-Old Tom. Pretty much the same show, same creator, but those are the kinds of things that I want to introduce. And I'll tell you right now what the next episode's going to be. Claws. My wife and I have run through the first two seasons, and it is on the first three seasons are on Hulu. Season 4 still releasing on the TNT app, or TNT if you have cable. That show is amazing, and nobody told me about it. Maybe I don't run in the right circles, but I was shocked how good that show is, and that people haven't been pulling me over in the street and being like, hey, have you seen Claws? No? Well, what are you, racist or sexist or something? Oh, only one of them. Well, if it's got to be one, go with the lip ring. Wow. A few things. I hope they're a conversation. How can that be? Dude with the lip ring, what did you do? Fart? I didn't know I was going today, damn it. And that is a shitty feeling. That's like when I went to court ready to fight it. And then I got told something, and I was like, well, damn. And then you go from, all right, going home to, okay, so I'm gone for 3 weeks, huh? Damn. Why are you crying? He's not the one you should have picked first. He's not the one. Like, his tears are streaming into his beard. You do got this, or you don't, or you don't. All right, I'm going to try to memorize your phone number because that's another thing. You don't have your cell phone, so you better know that phone number of whoever it is that you really need to get a hold of. It looks like you've retained a lot of the baby weight, and somehow your wife looks exactly the same. Very good, though, Peter Griffin. Very good. Because she can do better. Yeah, look, he was a nice looking young dude, and now look at him. What happened? As soon as he got out of the military, he was like, I tell you what, I'm never going to do again jog, let alone run. I like to keep it at a nice casual stroll while I eat pastrami sandwiches. That's right, all those clothes off. Oh, we're going in wearing a military shirt? Come on. Excitement. I get to shit in front of somebody for the next 2 months. Hooray! Because, yeah, that's weird. Like, especially if you're having diarrhea or something. And oh my God, jail food used to give me the worst farts. Hard to describe them. I don't know if I told the story of a fart that I did the day I got out. But as a matter of fact, it was that 3 week stretch, I'm going to call it. So I get out. And that night, I am walking with an ex girlfriend through the streets of DC, and we're headed back to her car. We're blocks away. We're like 2, 3 blocks away from her car. I let one go, crop dusting, and we get another 2 blocks down. We're about to get to her car, and she goes, "Oh my God, do you smell that? The city stinks." And I was like, "Yeah, it's awful." We get in the car, it's still with us in the car. So she's coughing and has to roll down the windows. And she used to say things like, "Oh, I think it's weird that you don't want to like even pass gas in front of me. Like it's human, and that's what people do when they're like close." So the smell is finally like starting to dissipate. She's rolling the windows back up, and I was like, "You know how you always want me to fart in front of you and whatnot?" She was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Well, that smell back there was me." And then we both just laughed, and she was like, "Oh my God, it smells like something died inside you." The jail food just got in there and made a mess inside of me. And all of my bunkmates would always complain jokingly most of the time, but they were like, "Oh my God, dude, your ass stinks. What the fuck?" And I was like, "I don't know," but I couldn't stop it because that food made me fart. Like I might fart. Let's say I fart twice a day and I'm not even thinking about it because I feel like I don't fart twice a day. If I fart twice a day now, I was farting 50 times a day in jail. And yeah, they were all rotten. That's right. They got something to prove. I'm Ashley the cop. Yeah, because they will definitely tell somebody's ass. You know that blonde girl right there? Because, oh, that's another thing. Sometimes, because this is a show on television, sometimes people in the jail have seen 60 Days In and figure out that not everybody there is actually there. And once they know, they got nothing better to do. I like your smile. Doo 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 doo. What's crazy is she could actually be Shanice because I don't remember what she looked like that. Doo 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 doo. So yes. The hell you don't. But this was also this aired January 2020. So we hadn't even got to the worst of the George Floyd and all that stuff yet for her. I mean, she does look like she could actually be some kind of criminal, ethnically ambiguous. She's either mixed or Hispanic of some kind, but there could even be Asian in there. Again, I will say, criminals, the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Didn't have money, they bought me a soda, this and that. Now, I would advise against taking a lot of favors from people, but against my own will, I'll say, because generally people offer me help, I say no. But they would still just be like, oh, here you go, man. It's really not a big deal. You can pay me back whenever. And I was like, thank you. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to suck your dick. But it was never about that. They were just genuinely nice people. Yeah, it was a very stupid decision. You were sitting at home and you thought, you know what? I could go to jail. Except, like, not, I'll go outside and get in a fight and go to jail. Like, oh, no, you don't. Because when the door locks behind you and you're like, damn, 59 more days. All right, now we're in a commercial. Got a minute and 20 seconds. I am so not a fan of the fact that it's not called Weight Watchers anymore. I hate what our world is becoming. WW. We feel like the word weight has a lot of negative connotation to it. And to watch it. Why would we need to watch weight? No, instead, WW. And what happened to Jenny Craig? Because her name was perfect. It's just a lady's name. And Flo, you know what? She's been around so long, I really am not excited to see her go. But I will say they've given her a very graceful transition because she's still in almost every progressive commercial. But we're all very familiar with the league of her assistants or trainees. And so when the day does come that she suddenly disappears, it won't even really be a big deal because we've spent the last, like, it feels like 5 or more years getting to know her replacements. But notice that they didn't just do one, they did several so that no one's too big. Oh, they're in Alabama. God, that's scary. Is that when it got real? Oh, it got real when they were like, somebody's going to jail right now. The little Hispanic or mixed woman, because he likes her swag. That black lady looks terrified. Oh, all right, cop. Everybody else, we're going to go to Applebee's and just try to enjoy the night. Hopefully, next time we see you, you aren't bloodied and beaten. Oh, yeah, she was much slimmer once upon a time. So Krispy Kreme got a hold of you. And I thought, what better way to really just relax than to go to jail, no more work. That would be funny though, because you can just go to jail, keep your head down, ignore everything, and have a potentially very relaxing time. Now, I hope that you don't need anything like chapstick, because as somebody who is addicted to the stuff, they take it from you, and you don't get it back until you can buy it in commissary, which means you're without it for at least a week. I was without it for two because I missed whatever day I was supposed to have money in my account by in order to order commissary, and I had to wait another week. And by that point, my lips were just fucked. She's gonna hate the way that the COs treat her. I don't get it. Why are they treating me like some criminal? I'm a person. Yeah. She don't care. The drugs aren't the scary part. It's the weapons that you could have snuck in, which other people might have. I'll be in there shortly to check your ass and whatever might be in it. Oh. Well, she got a good treatment because I've had to spread them every time. Yeah. But I don't mind the squat because, unlike whenever I'll have to get a colonoscopy, not a colonoscopy, have my prostate checked. Like, they stand a pretty healthy distance away and they're really just making sure, they don't see ahead of anything, nothing falls out. Still dreading the moment that some dude, because it has to be a man doctor, can't be a woman, tells me, like, okay, are you ready? And I'm like, I'll never be ready. Just do it, man. Yeah, whenever new people used to come in, and my shit looked just like that, the pods that I was in. Whenever new people used to come in, one guy would scream, Fresca, which I guess means fish, I think. He would go, Fresca! And then another person would yell out, Fruity Fresca! It's a nice little way to intimidate the new people entering the pod. Because it's really nothing, but people build it up. If you've never been, and I get it, I had these thoughts the first time that I was ever sent to jail. You don't know what to expect. And there is a certain amount of anxiety. Oh, we're in a commercial break, by the way. A minute and 16 seconds left. There's a certain amount of anxiety, a little bit of fear. And only when you know it's not that big a deal is it. But coming in to people screaming new fish and this and that, and you're just like, oh, fuck me, man. This is exactly what they said it was going to be. But then you come to understand, oh, no, it's not. We're all just bored and being punished together. It's a gigantic timeout where everybody's shut in together. You spend half of your day locked in your cell, and then the other half just watching USA television. We watched a little VH1. Every now and again, I'll see something that I saw in jail. Like we were watching Tom Brady's got Man in the Arena on ESPN, which again, that's something else that I think people should see. I would love to do it, but I don't know how many people have ESPN like that. We have like every streaming service, so I could watch everything. But I always try to stick to the Netflixes and the Hulus, sometimes YouTube, because I'm like, okay, everybody's probably got those. Anyway, we were watching something, and there was a game that they were flashbacking to. Yes, I said it like that on the show. And I remembered watching that game in jail. And I was like, wow, hadn't thought about that in a long time. And I don't know why he's so concerned with looking out his window. I never did that. Some people do just stare out the window. There's nothing to see when you stare out the window. You're staring at an empty pod, maybe the two people that were assigned to clean, and you can watch them go room to room. There's nothing else to look at unless you're like trying to make some kind of communication to somebody else who's looking out a window. But it can wait. You'll be out of there in 2 hours. I mean, that mattress looks better than what I used to get. Ours were blue. They looked much firmer. Those look kind of soft. And ours were much smaller. Yeah, don't be scared. It's nice of him to say that, except for somebody to say that means you probably look it with your feet out. White guys. Ah, see, it's the same kind of pod. What they might not show, they probably did him better because he's on this show. Before you even get to the pod, you're in intake. And I was in intake for 3 days the last time that I went to jail. And for those 3 days, I wasn't given a toothbrush. I didn't get to shower. It was nasty. My mouth was disgusting. Looking like every correctional officer ever. That black guy looks like every young black dude. Does he have drugs in his butt? Did you ask because his ass was a little clenched? Oh, yeah, he's off to a bad start already. Yeah, you should have. Because those black dudes are country. There's nothing nice about going to the country. And technically, I was in the country every time that I've been to jail because I was in the South, but I wasn't in Alabama. My grandfather told me, don't you ever go to Alabama. And I have not set foot in Alabama in my life because he got arrested over a weekend for a bank robbery that he did not do. And only through a relative coming down and pleading with the judge because he had an alibi and nobody cared about his alibi. And then they eventually found out that somebody else did in fact rob the bank and they let him go, and he was like, and when they let me go, I never return. Don't ever. Yeah, I mean, he's got nothing to be afraid of. This man knows prison. All he's got to be afraid of is all he's going to do is keep his mouth shut, I think. I don't think he's going to try to tie himself into gangs. We have seen him age very rapidly. He went from kind of weird looking younger dude to suddenly bald, and even his beard is balding. The only good thing he's got going is that dude is not afraid to throw hands, but that would just get him in more trouble. Because, good God, I remember working with a dude who used to be a CO for prisons on the weekend. I mean, if you pull out an intake, you've truly got a lot of bitch in you. But this dude would tell me such horrible stories about people snitching and how they make you suck dick and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I just remember I'm like 22, 23, and I was just like, oh my God, that's real? Never thought I would have seen the inside of a jail cell at that point in my life. I mean, it shouldn't be shit to him. So yeah, all this waiting. Let me just go get a Big Mac and then let's get it on. I wouldn't say he looks like a CO. He's just a fucking thick little dude. Kind of looks like a cop, but doesn't every white dude who looks like he can handle himself? Seeing that white van reminds me of when the DC sniper was like out. Snipers were out because they said white van and everybody was looking for a white van. Not even just trying to get money. Just like, nah, you're not going to fucking kill me while I'm pumping my gas. I bet they make him squad and checking his ass. I got that feeling too, Chubbs. I don't know what it is. Must just be death in the air. If you began to play Coming in the Air Tonight by Phil Collins in your head, or In the Air Tonight, you're right. That is exactly where I was going. The shoes look beat the fuck up, my friend. They serve some orthopedic function with your cargo shorts on. Now, the way that he's holding himself right there, he looks like a cop. Just that face. He looks like he's seen a bunch of shit. Like he could just be a badass biker. Now he said being alone, and this is why, because they tell them not, even though they know the other people who are in there like they are, they're like, don't be friends with one another, because that's a quick way to give away that you're a part of the show. And as soon as they find out they're a part of the show, they have to pull them out because then they become like a target. And another commercial break, a minute and 6 seconds. For Invisalign, it's like the world reminding me that my dentist keeps telling me that I need to get braces so that I can begin to have a ton of oral surgery. Nothing scarier. Like right now, I'm awaiting an approval to get veneers, and as much as I want a perfect smile and all that, you have your adult teeth for so long, and I've been attached to these bad boys. Had a lot of bonding to try to repair all the chips and breaks and whatnot that I've had, but to put in veneers, they got to file your tooth almost all the way down so that they can put the veneer on. And so they're always going to look perfect, but veneers can break, so you got to go get them fixed. But just knowing that my front teeth will be little nubs that look perfect to the world, but I know what's really happening in there, it's a little scary. I think that that is scarier to me than the thought of going to jail. Even though if I had to go to jail like tomorrow, I would be terrified for all the responsibilities that I have. But when I was talking to the dentist, I was like, gotta tell you, I'm not a big fan of having my teeth filed down like that. But guess it is what it is, right? And he's like, yep. Don't rehearse it too much. I think those guys are gonna be all over him, and it would be stupid for him to try to fit in with those black guys that we saw earlier. They know that that's not you, and you grew up really nice. It's a nice house with your waves. Not really. Oh, well, he just said it was for the community, but then when you said that, it sounded really stupid. I want to show them that I can do this without actually having committed a crime. Nah, that's not true. Like, people don't like a lot of eye contact. Not there anyway. Shit, they don't even like it on the subway. Why would they like it in jail? That dude's in trouble. I do hope that they stop that young white dude, though. I think he's going to be the one. When he shows up, they're going to be like, so, we talked about it. We feel like you're pretty rapeable, and we think it's a bad idea. This is the second time that he has alluded to him being too good looking. You pretty? You want to take some mud and dirty your face up a little bit or something? Yeah, because like they're gonna take you in looking like that. That's not good. He's a little too color coordinated. Keep talking about tolerate. Within the first 3 episodes, I'm guessing he gets not in a fight, but I think somebody's gonna say something to him he doesn't like. And I'll bet he cries when that happens. He's not going to cry like a bitch. I don't think his shoulders are going to move, but I think tears are going to fall and he's going to have to wipe them away. I just don't like people disrespecting me. Take me to the white dude who's 24. So my stomach's been sick all night just thinking about going in. Never lose hope. How dare you? Oh. Well, at least her bunkmate is like an old woman. You don't really have to worry about much if they're that old. She looks like she just talks a lot. What is it like? I'm seeing people using computers and stuff. Looks better. I mean, it does look like it's a pretty crowded pod. And who didn't have her shoes on? White woman. Word. Now, they did do different colors where I was at, but the colors stayed with themselves. So one pod had people with green, like I wore green. Another pod had people with orange, different kinds of charges. And the people with white were like this people with the pink shirts. So if you had white, you were in your own pod with the other people awaiting murder trials and things. I remember I was being arraigned, and there was a dude with white on, and he was very talkative, very friendly, silly, immature. And somebody finally like whispers to me like, that dude killed his wife when he caught her cheating or something like that. And I was like, oh shit. And he was like, yeah. So I guess he was just friendly and calm because he's like, this is my life now. I'm not going to be a free person. Oh, one last little bitty commercial break in here. Whole Foods with a nice, interesting, weird commercial where they take like a cutout and put it in front of a whole bunch of stuff. It's interesting though. I really like that. Like they've got people's heads and then they cut out most of their body and then they place it in front of food, fruits, vegetables, all this kind of stuff, and it turns into this like really interesting picture. I got to try that. Get my family out there doing stuff. A Trivago commercial. I forget what Trivago does. It's like a drug for something, I believe. Or is it a travel thing? Oh, it's a travel thing. I don't get it though. All these places that are coming out, like Kayak is my go to now. It took me a long time to switch from cheaptickets.com to Kayak. But I'm like, okay, everything compares all the prices. Priceline, Expedia, all of them. They all just compare the same prices. It's like Progressive came out with, we'll show you your quotes. And if somebody's cheaper, we'll tell you. And then everybody started doing it. It's like, yeah, but Progressive already did that. That's not a selling point anymore. All right, we're back. Black dude getting ready to take off his modeling clothes and get checked into intake. He doesn't look okay. And again, because, he's supposedly wearing what he was wearing when he was arrested. Why were you dressed like that when you were arrested? Like, what did you do? Because I forget the crime that he's told everybody he's going to be going with. And probably had some of their beef stroganoff. Fuck does that have to do with what appears to be a heart attack? What? Oh my god. I did not foresee the big dude tapping out or trying in intake. I can't become an inmate. I can't believe they're not going to stop that white dude. I still think they are. I don't. Yeah, well, maybe you like stuff up there. Oh, that's another thing. They can't get high. If you do that kind of stuff, you get in real trouble. He was sitting in the wrong place, which would be stupid. Sure. When in Rome. Oh, this woman's insane. Looks like a good season, though, doesn't it? And you know who we didn't see at all? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Everybody's tapping out. What's happening? Well, the black dude is the only one that they didn't show putting the shit over his heart. For shame. Hopefully, you all really enjoyed that show. If you've never seen it before, I suggest you go back. I don't know. I might just keep it going and play the next episode right now. All right, enjoy yourselves. We'll be back very soon. Pieces.